Right, we're in July, 20th of July, and I'm driving down to London. And why I'm saying that is because I want to tell you a little bit of a story. This story starts in October 2009, and I was working with Vincent Wong and John Lee, and they told me about this flat that they had difficulty to get the owner to give them a better discount, and all they wanted was another 5,000. And they talked to me about it because he was Spanish and I speak Spanish. Hey. So I went to speak to him and got the 5,000 additional discount from his flat and decided to buy it myself. So this flat was valued at about £147,000 and I got it for 115. Now it was just a studio flat on top of a big house, if you like. There were other two flats, and the good thing about it is that I had part of the freehold, because then you can really decide on what sort of management you want for the house. And there were only two other flats, so the first floor and the ground floor, and mine was on the second floor. So in 2000, took a little while before we got everything organized, but in 2010 I got possession of the flat. The owner stayed another month because he had to sort of finish all his affairs and move to Spain. So what happened is that I've been renting this flat to housing benefit tenants, and I get about £800 per month. And I had two tenants during that time. One started working, so he couldn't afford the rent anymore. And the next one was with me for about a year and a half. I didn't have too many problems with him. However, he started to make a bit of a nuisance of himself, and I had a few complaints from the other tenants that he was making too much noise, coming back late. He broke the window and didn't repair it, and so forth. So I got in contact with him, and he sort of said, "Oh no, it's not me, it's the others." And I thought, oh blast, another type of excuses that are coming up. And he in fact was having sort of girlfriend, rather strange, bizarre things, and I thought, really, I've got to get rid of him. And I sort of sent him a first warning, and also contacted the council to say that I probably would not be keeping this tenant. So they spoke to him as well. But during that time, I thought to myself, well, how about if I just got rid of the flat and sold it? I went on to Home Track Real Valuation and found out that really the value of it was about £179,000. And I thought, oh, it's gone up by, £33,000. So I got in contact with two agents, and one of them said he had sold the flat downstairs, and so he knew that house quite well. It was with a recommendation of the person downstairs that I got in contact with that estate agent. So here I am on the first day of the oh yes, that's what they said. Actually, they were going to value it at 175, and then we could probably sell it at 170. And I thought, no, well, let's just put it on the market at 180 or 179,995, and then see what happens. So because we sort of had difficulty getting hold of the tenant again, I decided that I would go down on a Saturday and we would have a sort of bulk viewing. And it turned out that there were going to be about 11 or 12 people coming to see it. Oh, I thought, this is amazing. So I cleaned up the flat, arrived really early, cleaned up the flat a bit with the tenant. He wasn't very much used, really. It wasn't very dirty or very messy anyway. But it's always good to have a better view. So the viewing started, and the first person that came in was an investor. And he said, well, he would give me the full asking price. That was a good idea, but we had to take it off the market. So in the evening we had another 2 offers for 170. So I said, no, I would prefer the full asking price, thank you very much. So I did say that this investor would have to put down £1,000, because if it was just a time waster, then I would have wasted, valuable weeks of the sale. And I really wanted to cash in on this flat in order to be able to buy more, if you like. So 2 weeks later, he went with his builder and found that the roof was leaking a little bit into the flat. I hadn't really noticed it, so it wasn't really big. But he also, the builder he went with, said it really needed a new roof and a whole lot of things. And okay, so that really worried me. So I got in touch with someone that the estate agent recommended, and he went up there and found that it was probably going to be about £1,000 worth of cost. But because I only have a fifth of the freehold, I would only be liable for a fifth of the freehold of the bill. So that would be, £250, so really cheap. And the others are really quite willing to keep up with the management. So he wasn't interested and fell through. So about 2 weeks later, we had another 2 viewings. And because there was a bit of a bidding war, the flat actually, one of the buyers says she would cash, and she wanted to pay 185. So, wow, isn't that amazing? You just have to wait. Sometimes better things come your way. And so, coming back to my tenant, on the 15th of April, he was served a Section 21. Section 21 here means that they have 2 months to get out of the flat. 2 full months. And in his case, it would have been the 15th of June. Now, 15th of June came and went, and he didn't go out. And I got in contact with him, and basically he had been told by the council, you just have to wait for the court order. Really rotten from the council, because we, as private landlords, try to accommodate them, and they really make our lives so miserable. Anyway, there is a process called accelerated possession order, and I've never done it before, but it's just the paperwork has to be filled in correctly and then sent to the courts, which we did on the 25th of June, because unfortunately we got the amount on the check wrong. You have to know that in England the fees are very difficult to even find out what they are. And it was in fact £175. So I'm still waiting. With the 20th of July, I'm still waiting for this order. It can take 6 weeks, 8 weeks before the judge gives his verdict. You don't have a hearing, so that could be quite easy. Now, for the last month, I've been trying to get in contact by phone with my tenant. The estate agent has been there several times, so his stuff is still there. I don't know how much of his stuff is still there, but housing benefits has been suspended since the 26th of June, and I'm sort of in limbo land. So what I've decided to do today is to drive down to London. It's a Sunday, so there's not too much traffic, and I'm going to put a notice of abandonment if I don't find him in the flat. if he's not there, I'll check if all his stuff is there, if I can sort of more or less see if personal stuff or is just rubbish that he's left. A lot of these tenants just leave without telling you, without giving back the keys, and just leaving some rubbish that they don't want anyway in their new place. So this is possibly what could have happened. Now this notice of abandonment is an interesting one, because you put it on the door and the tenant has got 7 days to contact you. If he doesn't, then you just repossess the flat. It's not borderline legal, but sometimes you just have to take, fate in your own hands and see what happens. Now, I'm driving down to London, as I said before, and I'm just hoping that the tenant isn't going to be there, because that would really sort of get it good for me to then be able to sell the complete on the flat, because this is a cash buyer, and say goodbye to that little flat that might have made me a good amount of money. So that is really nice. So there you are. I'm a happy bunny, just crossing my fingers that my tenant isn't there. Bye.